The topic of the debate is who is Son of Man, Jesus or Muhammad? The debaters are the Spirit of Truth and Radical Moderate. Uh, Radical Moderate supports the position that Jesus is the Son of Man, and the Spirit of Truth supports the position that the Son of Man is Muhammad. We will begin with the initial round, which consists of 10 minutes each, an introduction, a statement of the case, a positive presentation by the debaters. Having said that, we will begin the debate now with Radical Moderate. It is your mic.
Okay, thank you very much. So let's begin. Who is the Son of Man, Jesus or Muhammad? Today's topic has a very specific scope. The Son of Man prophecy in Daniel 7 and subsequently Daniel 9. It should come as no surprise to the Muslim audience that I, as a believing Christian, believe that this Son of Man prophecy is talking about none other than Jesus Christ himself, the Son of God, the anointed Messiah. My opponent, on the other hand, has promised to make a positive case that the Son of Man prophecy is in Daniel, is speaking of Muhammad, the prophet of Islam. Now, it will not be enough for my opponent to question my biblical knowledge on the meaning of prophecy. For instance, who is the little horn in Daniel 7? I can tell you with 100% certainty that I do not know everything. I know this is going to come as a shock to Muslims, but I do not know everything. Likewise, it will not be enough for my opponent to make the absurd accusation that Jesus would never say such a thing, or your Bible is corrupt, or any of the other denials Muslims throw out to avoid the consequences of believing in God's grace and mercy in Jesus Christ. Instead, my opponent will have to prove that Muhammad fits the prophecy. He will have to show that when Jesus refers to himself as the Son of Man, he is referring to someone else, namely Muhammad. To do so will mean severe ramifications for himself and his faith. So let us begin by looking at the prophecies themselves found in Daniel 7, 13 through 14, and Daniel 9, 25 through 27. First, let's begin with the prophecy itself of the Son of Man in Daniel 7, 13 through 14. In my vision at night I looked, and before me was one like a son of man, coming with the clouds of heaven. He approached the Ancient of Days and was into his presence. He was given authority, glory, and sovereign power. All nations and peoples of every language will worship him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, not perish. His kingdom is one that will never be. There are 5 points to make. First, the bigger comes from the cloud of heaven. He is given authority, glory, and sovereign power. All nations and peoples worship. The Aramaic word is palak, which means to serve, worship, revere, minister for, pay reverence to him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion that will not pass away, and his kingdom is one that will never be destroyed. Now moving on, we get to the second prophecy in Daniel 9, 25, 7. Once again, that is Daniel 9, 25, 7. How much time do I have? Moving along, how much time do I have? Is there a timekeeper? Okay, well, I'll just continue. Know and understand this: from the time the word goes out to restore and build build Jerusalem, until the anointed one, the ruler comes, there will be 7 sevens and 62 sevens. It will be rebuilt with streets and a trench, but in times of trouble. After the 62 sevens, the anointed one, the Messiah, will be put to death and will have nothing. The people of the ruler who will come will destroy the city, the sanctuary. The end will come like a flood. War will continue until the end. Desolations have been decreed. He will confirm a covenant with many for 1 7 in the middle of the 7. He will put an end to the sacrifice and offering, and the temple. He will set an abomination that causes desolation until the end that's decreed is poured out on him. Points to be addressed. from the time the order is given to rebuild Jerusalem to the coming of the Messiah, the Son of Man, there is a time frame of his coming. The Messiah, the Son of Man, will be put to death. The city will be destroyed by a ruler, this being Vespasian. He will put an end to the sacrifice, i.e., destroy the temple. For brevity's sake, I will not go into the time of 7 sevens and 62 sevens, but rest assured, if challenged, I am prepared, very clumsily I might add, to demonstrate that this time exactly matches up with Christ's crucifixion. So in order So in order for Muhammad to be the Son of Man, he must fulfill or will fulfill all these things foretold in these prophecies. It is a well-known fact. Let me state this, Muslims. It is a well-known fact, and all scholars agree, from Bart Ehrman to John Dominic Husson, that Jesus Christ was crucified and died on Calvary's cross. It is a well-known fact that after this event, a ruler, Vespasian, destroyed Jerusalem. It is also a well-known fact that Vespasian destroyed the temple, putting an end to the sacrifice. It is also a well-known fact that Vespasian put up a temple to Jupiter, an abomination that causes desolation on the Temple Mount. To deny any of these facts is to deny history itself. Now let's get to what Jesus said about himself being the Son of Man. And how much time do I have? Anybody? How much time do I have? 6 minutes. A search of the term Son of Man produces over 82 references. There is 28 references in Matthew, 13 in Mark, 25 in Luke, and 12 in John. Truly an embarrassment of riches. Since there are so many, I will only be able to get to a few in the time I am allotted. So let's get started. Matthew. Well, Jesus forgives sins and says the Son of Man has authority to forgive sins. Matthew 9, 1 through 6. Jesus stepped into a boat, crossed over, and came to the town. Some men brought him a paralyzed man lying on a mat. When Jesus saw their faith, he said to the man, "Take heart, son, your sins are forgiven." At this, some of the teachers of the law said to themselves, "This fellow is blaspheming." Knowing their thoughts, Jesus said, "Why do you entertain such evil thoughts with your hearts? Which is easier to say, your sins are forgiven, or to say, get up and walk? But I want you to know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins." And to prove this, Jesus said to the man, "Get up, take up your mat, and go home." Then the man got up and went home. Question: did Muhammad forgive sins of his followers? Jesus questioned by the Pharisees why he eats with tax collectors. It is a well-known fact in the Gospels that Jesus ate with sinners and tax collectors. In Matthew 11, 18 through 19, for John came neither eating nor drinking, and they say he has a demon. The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, here is a glutton, a drunkard, a friend of tax collectors and sinners. But wisdom is proved right by her deeds. The Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath in Matthew 12, 8. Let's see. The Son of Man is the sower. Matthew 13, 36 through 38. He answered, the one who sowed the good seeds is the Son of Man. The field is the world, and the good seed stands for the people of the kingdom. The weeds are the people of the evil one, and the enemy who sows them is the devil. The harvester is the end of the age, and the harvesters are angels. Question for Muslim: is there a Muslim in this room who will dare say that Muhammad sowed good seed into the world before the world began, and it has angels as harvesters? Matthew 13:41, the Son of Man will send out his angels, and they will weed out his kingdom, everything that causes sin and all who do evil. Matthew 16:12 to 14, when Jesus came to the region of Philippi, he asked the disciples, who do the people say the Son of Man is? They replied, some say John the Baptist, others say Elijah, and still others Jeremiah or one of the prophets. But what about you, he asked, who do you say I am? Simon Peter said, you are the Messiah, the Son of the living God. Question: is Muhammad the Messiah, the Son of the living God? For the Son of Man, in Matthew 16:27, for the Son of Man is going to come in his Father's glory with his angels, and then he will reward each person according to what they have done. The Son of Man comes in his Father's glory with his angels. Again, did Muhammad come in his Father's glory, who was Abdallah, with angels? Matthew 17:9. As they're coming to the mountain, Jesus instructed them, don't tell anyone what you have seen until the Son of Man has been raised from the dead. Was Muhammad raised from the dead in the presence of Jesus' disciples? The Son of Man is to suffer and die, Matthew 17:12. The same way the Son of Man is going to suffer in their hands, Matthew 17:22. When they came together in Galilee, he said to them, the Son of Man is going to be delivered into the hands of men. They will kill him, and on the third day he will be raised to life. And the disciples were filled with grief. We have in Matthew 20, verses 17 to 19. Now Jesus was going up to Jerusalem. On the way he took the 12 aside and said to them, we are going up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man will be delivered over to the chief priests and teachers of the law. They will condemn him to death and will hand him over to the Gentiles to be mocked, flogged, and crucified. And on the third day he will be raised from death. Was Muhammad handed over to the chief priests and teachers of the law and put to death? Was Muhammad crucified? And lastly, but definitely not finally, we have Matthew 19:28. Jesus said to them, truly, I tell you, at the renewal of all things, when the Son of Man sits on his glorious throne, you who have followed me will also sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. If Muhammad is the Son of Man prophesied to Daniel, and if Jesus is referring to someone else as the Son of Man, i.e. Muhammad, is it Islamic doctrine that Muhammad will sit on a glorious throne, judging the 12 tribes of Israel with Christ followers? How much time do I have left? I probably went over. How much time? 1 minute? 30? So with that, there can be no doubt that Jesus is referring to himself as the Son of Man. To say that he's referring to anyone else, i.e. Muhammad, would make you, sir, a blasphemer. And with that, I relinquish the mic.
Right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف خلق الله وسيد المرسلين محمد الأمين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters, respected guests in this room, the prophecy of Daniel is a very powerful prophecy, and it is a simple, straightforward prophecy. Speaking, my respected opponent spoke about went directly to chapter 7 verse 13. However, the prophecy before that is speaking about four beasts. Most Christians will be aware of those four beasts. In chapter 7 verse 7, in Daniel chapter 7 verse 7, it says, after this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast. I want to go directly to the fourth beast because the details of the prophecy are generally known to most Christians, at least. I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stampeded the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the rest. It was a powerful beast, different from the other beasts. I'm not going to interpret anything myself. I'm going to use a Christian interpreter, a Christian scholar, Adam Clark, Mr. Adam Clark. He says, I saw a fourth beast. It had great iron teeth. This is allowed on all hands to be the Roman Empire. It was dreadful, terrible, and exceedingly strong, etc., etc. So I want to quickly come to this conclusion then. The four beasts are four empires that will come upon the Holy Land. We understand from chapter 2 of the Daniel chapter 2, Daniel explains the dream of King Nebuchadnezzar, and in that dream where the king sees a statue made of different substances, we understand that there were also four empires to pass on the Holy Land. In the dream, we are told that the first of those empires, Daniel says in the book of Daniel chapter 2 verse 39, I believe, he says that is going to Nebuchadnezzar is the first, the Babylonian kingdom is the first. After you, another kingdom will arise inferior. I must admit I was wrong one. If you could put me the verse